Right now, let's return to the story that's on the front page of so many newspapers across the country that the NBA has removed the All-Star game from Charlotte because of the bill that was passed by the state government in North Carolina in March that removes anti-discrimination protections for many in that state. And the man who broke that story from the Vertical, Adrian Wojnarowski, returns to the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Adrian?
Rich, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. So what was the genesis of this? I know the commissioner's been talking about it for a while, saying that they were taking it under advisement after the law passed in March. Why did it finally come to this decision in mid-July?
Well, Rich, when the law was passed in March, the league, immediately made it clear that they would not hold the All-Star game in Charlotte. They would not bring the league together for that All-Star weekend there with that law still in place. That effectively, as you said, took away a lot of the protections that gay and lesbian people have in North Carolina that would have in Charlotte. They focus a lot on the bathroom element of this. But beyond that, if you wanted to go to a restaurant or if you wanted to get in a cab or if you wanted to go to a hotel and somebody didn't want to serve you or didn't want you there, they didn't have to take you for a ride or let you in the hotel or seat you at a restaurant. And for the league, it was a choice they made right away. They tried to using the Charlotte Hornets, Michael Jordan and their organization, they tried to affect some change, and obviously it's a much bigger issue, has a broader impact than the NBA, but, they weren't able to get change on it. And, there's a clock on this. They have to take a lot of logistics and preparation and clearing out hotel rooms to do an All-Star game in a city, and they had run out of time here. And now they're on to, hopefully for City of Charlotte, be able to get the All-Star game here a couple of years from now. If that law changes, if it doesn't, then it remains to be seen whether they'll get that game there.
Well, did the commissioner act in concert with the Players Association, and was ownership unanimous on this subject? How did this decision come to bear within the front office?
I'm told that Adam Silver really took the lead on this. You've seen him make stands since he's been in the job, and certainly there was support all around the league. I knew of no. Listen, are there going to be people in the league who feel more strongly about it than others? Of course there are, but I was never aware of any real roadblocks within the league, whether it was other owners, whether it was the Players Association, to not go forward with this. And, for the Charlotte Hornets, Michael Jordan has gradually really improved his standing in the league as an owner. He had a very rough stretch over his first several years. They've got a good team coming back in Charlotte. They've got a great coach in Steve Clifford. They were in the playoffs this year. They re-signed a lot of their core and added to it. And it would have been certainly a tremendous showcase for them as an organization. And financially, that's the sense is that's like around a $100 million financial bump for a community. But the league clearly, they took a stand and there was just no movement. And if you saw the comments from the governor of North Carolina yesterday, after I reported it and then the league kind of came out and announced it, he kind of doubled down on the law. So, it's certainly a much bigger issue than the NBA here for them to decide, within that state how they'll go forward with it.
Yeah, I mean, Governor Pat McCrory, when you said doubled down, he called the NBA part of the sports and entertainment elite. How they misrepresented our laws and maligned the people of North Carolina simply because most people believe boys and girls should be able to use school bathrooms, locker rooms, and showers without the opposite sex present. So is there any concern on the NBA's part that they are alienating customers, alienating people who might not now want to go to Charlotte Hornet games because of all of this, or around the country even?
There's no question. Is it possible that there'll be people who are fans of the Hornets who support the legislation and won't want to support the team. Of course there are, but the feeling in the NBA is we're an inclusive league, we're a diverse league, and this is something that we think is important, and we'll live with the fallout of that. And certainly they've really, in Charlotte the last couple of years, you've seen season tickets go up, interest go up. That building has become really hard to play in again. If you remember back to you really go back to the Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues days when in the old Hive, when they really had it going, and you've seen a return to that. Will it impact that? I don't think it will. Are there going to be certain individuals who are maybe it drives them away? I guess there could be, but I can't imagine that it's going to be so profound that you're going to look around their arena and if they have a good team and people are enjoying them, I'm not sure that it's going to have that kind of an impact, but certainly it can have a residual one, and that's something that the league is willing to live with.
Adrian Wojnarowski here on the Rich Eisen Show. So New Orleans, you're saying, is the front runner? Are they going to get it? What are you hearing about the 2017 All-Star Game?
Yeah, the focus, I reported this yesterday on the Vertical, the focus is New Orleans. They had the All-Star Game in 2014. They had it in 2008. It's a city that's used to having big conventions. The hotel space is there. It's hard on short notice. There's cities who certainly would love to have it. There's certainly still cities vying for it. But as I reported, New Orleans is a focus right now of the league, and they are a front runner.
So let's move on to some other matters in the NBA. The fallout of the Durant super team being formed in Golden State. I'm sure you saw Pat Riley opine, I think the Business Insider, that maybe franchise tags should be brought to the NBA to prevent these sorts of things from happening. We had Jerry Colangelo on the show yesterday. He kind of laughed, saying, I don't know if Pat would have taken that point of view when he was trying to get LeBron and Bosh and Wade together.
Right.
But what do you hear about the appetite for trying to codify something to prevent super teams from happening?
Well, I have not heard of an appetite for franchise tags. What I have heard among owners is, can we make it more advantageous for a player financially to stay with the team he's with? Can we make it financially even more? Right now, it is more rewarding financially to re-sign where you are. You'll get the annual raises that you don't get going somewhere else. But as long as great players are willing to sacrifice, as long as they want to play together, and we've seen a willingness of guys to sacrifice in the last years financially. In salary, and then, of course, there's other benefits that can come through shoe deals and endorsements that can elevate when you go to a bigger market than, let's say, if you stayed in Cleveland or Oklahoma City, although we've seen being in those places has not stopped monstrous endorsement deals for players. I don't think you can legislate just out of the league. You never will. There's Kevin Durant was with Oklahoma for 9 years, and players earn the right at free agency. They deserve free agency. It has been fought for in all the major sports. Some pro sports are more restrictive than others. But I do think you may see in the collective bargaining talks that are going to be ongoing here a move to just try to make it just more feasible, a greater financial advantage to stay where you are. But there's no stopping this from happening, and nor should they.
Yeah, and you could make a case, Adrian, that Durant went to Golden State because he wanted to move closer to his main employer up there in Oregon. I mean, let's be honest.
And listen, Durant's Nike deal, there was not a provision in there. Nick DePaula, who covers shoes for the Vertical, and Rick wrote extensively and has talked extensively about this leading into the free agency. There were no provisions in his deal that paid him more to be there. He's got a tremendous shoe deal, Durant does, and was negotiated while he was in Oklahoma City. I think he may now listen. There are some things that attracted him beyond playing for them, playing with that group in Golden State, being close to Silicon Valley, being close to the tech industry, and looking for ways that he may be able to partner up in there. That was intriguing to him, but I don't think that was the deal breaker. I don't think that was the reason he did it, but there's always some ancillary things that make an attractive situation even more attractive.
Adrian Wojnarowski of Yahoo Sports, The Vertical, here on the Rich Eisen Show. Last one for you. As you know, I host the NFL draft every year, And the NFL has told its partners to make sure that it stops tweeting during the draft, the first round, because they don't want to cannibalize the commissioner's announcement. Now, you, sir, you were way ahead of Adam Silver on draft night. Did you hear anything from Silver's office, any pressure brought to bear asking you and your colleagues to stop tweeting out picks during the draft?
I did not. And, we did a live show this year.
Yep.
We got tremendous ratings. We had a live show, studio show, and we reported the news of the night as it came, whether it was draft picks. We broke trades. We reported on trade talks that were ongoing and then broke off all night. So we did that on the vertical. We're going to report the news in real time, and, that's our charge at the vertical, and that's what we'll always do.
But the league not at all reached out to you and saying, hey, would you please knock it off? Because the ESPN coverage and the commissioner was behind you. You were ahead of it. You were the draft essentially this year, Adrian.
Well, see, ESPN is actually, as you know, Rich, a competitor of ours. So,
yes.
Yeah, I'm not that interested in help. The television show is a ceremony. The decisions have already been made. So it's a ceremonial. When a player comes across the stage and is announced, a decision has been made to draft him often, sometimes minutes earlier, sometimes hours earlier. And so when you have that information, you report it. But all of our competitors are free to report the news as it was ongoing too. So it's a competitive environment, Rich, and we're gonna be competitive at the vertical.
All right, Adrian. Competitive is one way to put it. You were on it. It's unbelievable. It really was remarkable. You had a great, and your staff had a great draft night, and you're the place to go. So I always appreciate when you call in.
I appreciate it, Rich. That means a lot. 100%.
You got it. That's Adrian Wojnarowski.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.